welcome back to the third installment of the Last Drop podcast. Today, we're just gonna, we don't really have a script or a list of ideas to talk about. We're probably gonna be about video games, perhaps anime, and a little bit about ourselves. So, we are again missing Angel. He's still trying to get his way back from Mexico,
From Antarctica.
from Antarctica. Yeah. And then we have a new guest. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Justin. I'm friends of Noah, and I know Juliano as well. Known him since first grade, actually.
Yep.
It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, it's great to have you. We've
It is.
we've been expecting you for some time now.
Well, I'm here. Let's do it.
All right.
Cool.
So there's actually a couple questions I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay.
So me and Justin were discussing this earlier, Juliana, but I want your opinion about it. Um, so as you know, on the last episode or after the last episode, um, we we got into beans. We were discussing
Beans?
beans.
Oh yeah, beans. I remember.
Yep. And
Oh
then
god.
we went into thinking about like Reddit. So there's like a Reddit page for everything, right? Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah,
So
more or less.
yeah.
Mhm.
So our question is like, what what do you think there wouldn't be a Reddit page of, or like what shouldn't there be a Reddit page for,
What
Um,
shouldn't there be a Reddit page for?
or like yeah, basically just like what would you be surprised about if you went onto Reddit and you're like, oh, I see that's a thing. Okay.
um. Honestly, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised by anything on Reddit, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised on anything, but if you're asking what shouldn't be on Reddit, I think the easy answer to go for is anything that is grotesque.
Any
I
I'm not
think it's
any
sure
fine.
if does Reddit already have rules against that, or is it an 18 plus site type of thing?
it is an 18 plus type of site, but they have like NSFW pages that are like, oh, you gotta be 18 or older to enter. You gotta,
Hmm.
Reddit kind of has everything.
it does.
It's hard to think of something not being on Reddit. It's like Wikipedia. Like everything is on Wikipedia.
Yeah. I read an article somewhere. I forgot what it was, but there's this one dude who's like dedicated,
Oh yeah,
like an
he makes up like 60% of the Wikipedia articles or
yeah,
something.
Oh my
he's done
god.
like immense amounts of research to like help justify Reddit as an actual thing, and it's just like,
A dude, the
damn, how do
national
you?
hero.
Yeah, it's like some heroes don't wear capes, and that man's definitely a hero.
Like Wikipedia has become like just the number one like source for like basic information or in-depth information, really.
Yeah.
And I just think like every time I've ever used that site, like there's a chance that 60% of them were made by that guy. Like man, that talk about like unspoken like heroes really doing because like there's the dilemma of like what am I gonna do in the world? That dude made 60% of Wikipedia what it is now. And nobody probably knows his name, but he can still like know that he did it. And that's good.
That guy's helping me graduate high school.
Oh yeah.
We can't even use Wikipedia, Giuliano.
Yeah, but she doesn't care.
But you can use sources from or like dude, I'm in college, I still use
Oh my
Wikipedia.
God. Sorry. I found Lost, but it's made of beans. Oh my God.
You
You
found
sound like
what?
you want
I
to
found
discuss beans, Noah.
no, I'm scrolling through Instagram while we're talking, and I found Lost. You know the
Okay,
movie.
how do you even
Oh,
incorporate
loss of
beans
beans.
into loss?
It's just like the picture, but it's made out of beans. You want to see? I'll send it to you.
Oh, man.
I'll see if I can crop it and put it up in the video. If it is, it's here. If not, that sucks. But yeah, no, I've just been I definitely think that man deserves some sort of award.
She needs like a
Definitely.
Nobel Peace
Who
Prize or something.
who owns Reddit? You know how like they were asking for money? Like I think there still are, but they were asking for money. They're like, "Hey guys, to keep Reddit alive, you gotta donate $1." Do you think that money just goes straight to him?
No, because there are costs to running a website, especially something as big as Reddit. You got to keep servers up and stuff. But
The gov
I don't
the
know.
government
I
should
think
just buy Reddit and then make it an official.gov, and then we
The
can just
government,
oh no, that oh my god, that would set off a flame war.
it would.
What would the government even want Reddit for? Like, honestly?
to say that they like are providing a mass amount of information to the world.
Yeah, oh, Reddit is really contributing to the world.
I mean, that one gentleman believes it is.
I think, man, I don't know. I have mixed opinions on Reddit because, like, I can see the appeal. You know, it's a friendly forum website with lots of topics and everything. If you compare it to its like mortal enemy 4chan, like, yeah, it's got more topics in it and all that, but man, neither community is something to be desired in my opinion.
Hmm.
Reddit and 4chan have like a rivalry going on.
They've always
Is that
had
thing?
Oh,
and
oh
oh,
yeah.
did you guys hear about the Reddit trying to take down Instagram because we keep stealing Reddit's
That
memes?
was okay.
Was that
Can we
real?
talk about like massive jokes? For, like, cause that's one of them. Like for 3 days they were like, "Oh man, we're gonna take down all those Instagram anime accounts. Like we'll show them stealing our memes."
Yeah,
And
we
then
didn't
like the
know it
day
was
came
coming.
and like day came, nothing happened. And oh man, talk about making a fool of yourself.
Why is that even like? I'm very confused. Why do people on Reddit not want their things on Instagram?
Because the
Wouldn't
joke
that
is
be good
that
for
like
them?
their
They
joke is
won't
that
get credit.
yeah,
Because what?
that
So people wanted credit for the memes that they're making. You know, they're really high effort. You know, like reposts. Because I don't know. I guess it has value to them, and it makes sense if they put effort into it. But when it just gets reposted and watermarked with no credit, it kind of hurts their feelings. And so they had enough, and they decided they were going to take it back, and they failed horribly.
Well, I mean, I don't really.
And there's a topic. Let's talk about like fair use and stuff. Because
oh
copyright's a glaring issue nowadays.
yeah. I mean, we lost net neutrality, which is
Rest in peace.
yeah, and then Article 13 for Europe. So I definitely think there's a lot less that we are capable of doing as citizens and like users of the internet to do. So like Europe Article 13, they can't do shit basically. Like
They
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 can't
can't
use
make memes, right?
no, they can't make memes or that you can make memes but you can't repost them.
What?
Yeah, so
So you can make them
I
for
don't
your
remember
own
I don't
entertainment.
yeah, so like people have to develop their own form of entertainment or like they have to um like give credit properly to the person who made it. So like I can't make a meme and repost it like at all. I can
Wow.
I just can't. Um but yeah, a lot of that was because of how easy it was. I say easy like in quotation marks because I don't think it was that easy to simply like take somebody's content and then directly paste it to yours and say this is mine because a lot of people actually understand like
That
if a
see,
channel that just came out of nowhere post something that seems unoriginal, right? People are able to tell. Like you can't
yeah.
just I can't just take a video from like Game Grumps and repost it as my own and be like, "Oh no, I just look just like him."
I
I'm
happen to. I'm his doppelganger.
yeah. I'm
Wait, so
his
that was the issue the whole time? They just didn't want people stealing content?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean that's always a problem though. You know, like people are always and I don't want to say it's always a problem because I feel like a lot of the like in quotation mark glaring issues that YouTube sees is that people are taking a person's video and reacting to it or like speaking over it, giving their own opinion about it, and then people can just copyright strike it because it has their video in it. But it falls under the claim of fair use, which is it's taking that content and adding their own version of it to the video.
Right.
So if we were to respond to like a movie, okay, we can't have the whole movie be playing. Actually, we could. We could technically have the whole movie playing as long as as long as the
Make it
audio.
our own way.
No. As long as the audio isn't like clearly audible, and if we're continuously giving our opinion about it over it, like
Yeah, isn't it?
Uh,
It's legal if it's for like review purposes, right?
yeah,
Or like criticism or something.
yeah, it falls under fair use. But even then, like the issue that YouTube has been having is that people are taking copyright strikes to videos that are in the category of fair use. But since YouTube is using a robot, it's like the robot's like, all right, man, whatever you say. So, boop.
in addition to the robot, the third party companies that are claiming people's ad revenue,
Oh
that's a
yeah, okay. That's yeah,
that's actually see a robot is one thing because that's like an algorithm or programming problem that can eventually be fixed. But this is corruption.
yeah. There are companies. There's a couple. It's multi-network channels. I forgot what they're called. Multi-network company, something like that. But they basically own other channels, and so they have the ability to copyright strike anybody who uses that one of their channel's content. And then the other problem is that, um, like I don't know if you guys heard about what happened to Smosh, but the company that they are working with, they went bankrupt because they and instead of buying or selling Smosh to them for cash, they sold Smosh for stocks.
Oh, I remember
And
that.
so when the company went under, they had no money. And the reason why the company seemed so like to be doing really well was because they were like tracking the revenue of the actual YouTube channels they owned as their own, and then they were distributing that money back to the channels. So it's like the company itself had no money, basically. But
But the channels were profiting.
yeah, which was fine. You know, like the channels are getting the money, but the company itself didn't actually make money,
Mhm.
really. Like they took their portion of the ad revenue that the video made or like the channel made, and then they would deliver whatever's left over to them. But that was becoming an issue because on like taxes and to other companies that want to like potentially invest, they would tell them, look at how much money we have. Well, last year
But they,
we took in $8 million, but how much of that money did you actually give back to your own company? Like not enough really, because your company fell through.
Yeah.
And now I think they're owned. I think they are owned by. Is it Good Mythical Morning or Fine Brothers? It's one of those two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've teamed up with them.
Wow. I
And
never expected GMM to become a big thing.
well,
At least
no,
in
no,
that regard.
they're not like that big, but I think they're helping them out.
Oh, okay.
Cause Smosh and Good Mythical Morning have been around since the beginning of YouTube, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
I,
know.
I'm actually curious about the state that Good Mythical Morning is in because I looked at I thought they were really like cool, you know. And
I really like them, and I watch them like maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
mm,
they're pretty good. Family friendly content.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
big time.
and it's still entertaining. Like their personalities and the actual show itself is pretty great.
Yeah. Can you guys hear that in the background?
Hear what?
Okay, cool.
that's what I like to hear.
My mom was watching Harry Potter like really loud.
Doom 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 doom. All right, now that we're on the topic of Harry Potter, which Harry Potter movie do you guys like the most?
I've not
I would
seen
like to
a
say that
oh.
before anything is said, I have not finished the series.
And
Oh,
before anything is said, I'd like to say I have not read a word of any of the books, and I have not seen a minute of any of the movies.
all right. So
Well,
we're gonna change the topics.
conversation.
Um, let's talk about music. So
Okay.
I was at a concert last night for a couple of these punk bands.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I'm absolutely in a wreck of a day. Um, cause it was a great time. Shout outs to Mom Jeans, Mover Shaker, uh, Snooze, and then King of Heck. Um, fantastic bands. It was a great time. But I woke up. I didn't get home till like midnight or like 1 o'clock, and then I woke up at 8 because I had to go to Scouts, and then I got home, and I'm just so exhausted. And there was a mosh pit, and people were stage diving, and
Oh my
we
god.
dropped somebody because two people ran into each other, and then like one of the lead singer from Snooze, he had to come up on stage to stop people from stage diving because they almost kicked one of the lights down. Oh
Oh
my
god.
god,
Jesus Christ.
dude! And then we were on the second floor of a building, okay,
Oh
and
no.
everybody was like jumping, and like I was sitting like that's when I stopped because I was getting, it was hot and was sweaty and I was tired, and so I moved off to the side, and then like I could feel the center like sink in every time they jumped, and I was like, dude,
No.
this building's about to collapse. I was like,
Christ.
we're done. um
Jesus.
yeah, it was pretty nuts, but it was a great time. I'm a little sore. I'm also a little delirious and tired, but I'm here. I'm
Would you
awake.
say you're? Oh, never
Go.
mind. Bad
Go.
joke.
What are you gonna say?
I was
Mosh
saying,
pit horror story. I'm so sorry, Juliana. Please.
Juliano first, and then Justin, go ahead.
you. It's really not even worth it. It's. I was gonna say. You said you're sore, right?
Yeah.
Would you say you're IB sore?
Oh, Pokemon joke.
Aha!
Worst starter, might I add, just saying.
It's not even worth it, bro.
Alright. Mosh pit horror stories are something I'm very interested in. Because I've never been to a concert, people insist that they're good. And people tell me, yeah, oh man, the conditions were terrible. I thought I was going to die. It was super hot and sweaty and everybody was touching each other. It feels awful. And then I leave, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something I don't want to experience. And like, oh, it's so fun, Justin. You have to
It's
go to a concert.
okay, they're 100% correct. It's so like you feel disgusting, but it's so much fun. Like like because when you're in the moment, you don't think about your condition. You're just there having fun. You're living in the moment, and it was great. It was a fantastic time.
So it's more of a like looking back on it. It
Yeah,
was really the best.
cause like when I think about last night, I don't think about how hot and sweaty it was. I think about like how awesome it was to see a crowd of like 200 people, like all headbanging at the same time. Like that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty cool.
I think
It's pretty
the
cool.
worst one I've ever heard was my sister went to a rap concert
Who
and
was
they
it?
were I don't remember.
Was it the J. Cole's? Was it the Tyler's that create?
I want to say Tyler the Creator, but I'm not certain. But anyway, so there was enough people packed into the room that the sweat that they were generating evaporated,
Oh,
went went onto the ceiling and dripped down back onto them.
Uh,
the when I was standing off to the side, there was like holes for fans, and around the ring of the fan, like where like it would shoot air out of, it was like condensing with water, and it was dripping on this girl in front of me, and I was like, "You gotta watch out!" And she was like, "Oh my God, thank you." I was like, "Oh, ah!" It was
Yeah, that's
so nasty, but like
yeah,
I didn't think
that's
about that till
evaporated
just now.
sweat dripping back down onto you.
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
So I had a sweater on because it was cold at first. Like when we were walking through Sacramento, and then when we actually got inside, I was like, it's still kind of cold because the fans are blowing. For some, they stopped the fans during the actual show, so we could listen to the music. But it was so hot. Everybody was like, the lead singer from Mom Jeans was like, "Hey, can you guys turn the fans on? I mean, if you can't, it's okay, but just throwing it out there." Oh man, nah, it was an awfully good time, you know.
Another thing I wanted to touch on, you know, like Vocaloids, how they're programs.
Yeah.
If you go to a Vocaloid concert, how do you experience that?
With your
It
eyes.
must like I wonder if it's the same as a normal concert and you just kind of like it's like Hatsumiku's on stage, or do you like are you aware that you know what I mean? Like, do you immerse yourself, or are you fully aware of what Hatsumiku is? I wonder about
I personally don't really like listen to Vocaloid, but I'm assuming, right, that if somebody's into it, they're gonna be into it. Like they're not gonna care whether or not it's a hologram or a picture. They're there to listen to the music and like have fun watching the actual experiencing it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, can we talk about the people in Japan that are marrying actually marrying their
Oh,
waifus
dude.
like legally?
Yeah. You know, Japan already has a population crisis going on,
Oh my god.
and they're making it worse.
I don't know where I stand on that issue.
I don't know where I stand either. I feel I know it's an issue, and I accept that it's an issue. I just don't know how I feel about it, you know?
I mean, power to the people.
Dude, you know what? If they have the balls to announce to the world that they're marrying their waifu,
Good for you, man.
dude, I couldn't do that. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
Power to the people. I
Another
will
thing
say,
I wonder is like if one person marries Hatomiku, can anyone else marry Hatomiku too?
No, because legally that would be polygamy, so only she can, you know?
whoa, so you could like claim an anime wife, and that would just forever be yours.
Oh, dude, we gotta claim some anime wives right now.
Whoa.
um, Hanekawa Tsubasa.
I'm claiming shit, I don't know any hot anime chicks.
I'm claiming Taiga from Toradora.
Oh, you're in. Oh, okay. I see you know.
What do you mean?
You're into lollies.
No, no, it's because I like her character.
Whoa, lollies.
You're into tsunderes?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say I agree, but I respect your decision.
Thank you.
I'm going to now announce why I disagree with you. I feel like
Okay, okay.
tsunderes are designed to be bad characters. Like, if imagine Noah, imagine you see a stranger and you compliment them on something arbitrary, like you have pretty eyes, and they say, "Screw you! How dare you do something nice for me?" How are you going to feel? You're going to be like, "Wow, okay, you're a prick. I was doing something nice." I don't understand the appeal, and so I asked some people about it in the server I'm in, and they're like, "Oh, some people are cute when they're grumpy." I'm like, "Really? I can't say I've ever experienced that."
That's part of it, but it's also like I don't know because whenever I experience that type of stuff, I always feel like there is more to the person's character. So it's like, why would you act that way, right? I'm giving you a compliment, so like,
Oh,
what's the idea behind that?
so
Like,
okay, so it's like uncovering the mystery type of thing.
yeah, that's what I think is cool about it. It's just like, well, obviously this person, you know, there's more to them than what they want to show, and I think that's an interesting feature.
Oh, okay, I have a little more respect for them now.
I'm confused. What are we talking about?
We're talking about tsunderes.
Who?
Tsundere.
All right, let's get a change of topic going. Juliana's gonna get confused.
No, no, we're gonna inject him. We're
Oh,
turning him into a weed.
no.
So there's an archetype for characters called deres, and tsunderes are Asuka. You watched Ava, right?
Uh huh.
Asuka is a tsundere because she calls Shinji an idiot for no reason, type of thing. That's one example of a tsundere. Now we can change topics.
Oh, so like Sakura and Naruto.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
This
Why? Why is that? Why is it interesting? Go ahead.
could well, I assume from the context of the conversation that it's like something people are attracted to.
hmm
Interesting.
No, we. So you know how we were talking about claiming waifus earlier?
Hmm.
Yeah, Justin was like, "Oh, why would you choose that character?" Because I chose a character that's like is the archetype of tsundere, but Justin was like, oh, "Man,
I,
you know what?
I wanted insight, and I actually got it from Noah, so I'm happy.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
See, now tsunderes aren't last place anymore. Now it's yandere.
it's all right." Yeah, I recently saw a post, and you guys know what Rocco's Modern Life is?
Oh,
Oh
that
yeah,
sounds familiar. That sounds familiar.
It's
that's
an
like
old.
the little kid version of Naruto, isn't it?
No, no, not at all. Rocco's Modern Life. It's the cartoon about the kangaroo who lives in a.
Is that like
Oh
a Pixar movie or something?
No, it's a. Oh
no,
man,
that's I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. He drives the truck.
He drive. I don't know if he drives a truck. I
Well,
know
how
his
can you talk
friend's a
about something you
cow.
don't know that he drives a truck?
Why is that the thing though? Why is it the one memorable thing? He's like, man, I remember Rocco's Modern
Okay,
Life when he
wait.
used to get to his truck. He used to drive around.
Because he drives a truck or something. He has
Does
like an
he?
office job. Well, that's what I mean, he has a truck. It's not like his job, but he
All
drives
right,
his truck.
I'll send you guys a picture of Rocco's Modern Life. But
His
Okay,
main
I'm
joke.
looking it up right now.
okay, yeah, go ahead and look it up, Juliano. Go ahead and look it up.
Okay, this is a little more familiar now. Is
Yeah,
this like a new thing? This looks old, but like,
it's
It's from like
old.
early
It's old.
2000s.
Yeah.
okay, I thought,
No,
yeah,
no, no. It's like, yeah, I guess it's kind of early 2000s. Yeah. My point was, have you guys ever seen the show Camp Lazlo?
Yeah.
yes. They had like a crossover thingy,
No,
right?
they exist in the same world. I saw a post, and it was the cow from Rocco's Modern Life, and he appeared in Camp Lazlo in the last episode. And it was like it was proving that they exist in the same world because they have pretty similar art styles, and
Right.
like the characters seem pretty like alike. And I was like, dude, I was so shook. I was like, ah, man, I can't believe it. They do exist in the same world, man. It was a,
Well,
I feel like
oh, go
TV
on.
shows that we watched when we were younger, that we thought were like interesting, cool, are like when we look back at them, we're like, these like animators and these creators were totally on acid, and it's like, God, what
Oh
was
my
going?
God. Have you seen? There's this YouTube clip that's probably 14 years old, and it's effectively the birth of regular show.
Oh yeah, it's called 7. It's like 11 in the it's like 7:11 in the AM PM or something like that.
Yeah, and they like do acid or something.
Yeah, no, the dude feeds him like it's the character of Mordecai and Benson.
Benson,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the voice actors. So it's like the start of that, and they're inside of an AM PM, and then it's like really late, and the dude's like,
And
"Hey,
they're like,
do you
dude,
want
let's do
some?"
some drugs.
No, he's like, "Hey, do you want some chocolate?" And then the character who is voiced by Mordecai like feeds him to the other guy, and he's like, "Man, what's going on? What are these?" He's like, "Oh, there was acid in those." And he was like, "What?" And then
What
the
the
en-
heck?
then the entire like animated short is about how they're like reacting to it, and then
Mhm.
like at one point I think a police officer walks in, and then
Yeah.
they have to like play it super cool, and then like right in front of them the police officer's like shifting and changing, and it's really well animated, and
hmm
it's like, oh, I can see now where regular show came from.
Oh
I
god.
I think an interesting trend amongst the cartoons that were around when we were around, like teenage, maybe preteen years,
Yeah.
is that everything was kind of unique. Like Adventure Time had its own thing. Like Gumball had its own thing. Regular Show had its own thing. Like Regular Show is if you're looking for something a little more, I don't want to say edgy, but it
Out
leaned
there,
in that.
it's a little
It
more
leaned in
out
that. Yeah,
there.
it was out there. It was out there.
Yeah.
Adventure Time was more heartfelt and like nonsensical. And then,
It's a little bit easier to watch.
and then Gumball was like something totally like like totally new. So
I give a lot of respect to the Amazing World of Gumball just because of the art style. Like
yeah,
they really challenge themselves to add a lot of different styles to one world, and I really appreciate that because it shows like effort, and it shows that they really care about the show, and to continue it. Um,
hmm
Now that we're on this topic, let's talk about the ending of Adventure Time. Did you guys watch the end?
No.
um, I think I did.
Juliana, how
You
about
can feel
you?
free to remind me.
Huh?
Have you?
I have not. Was it good?
It was really good. Um, I kind of lost. I didn't keep up with Adventure Time fully, but I did a lot when I was younger, and then
Yeah, me too.
I like missed a year of Adventure Time because that's when I discovered video games. So it was like that's when I started playing on the PC. That's why I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this now instead of watch TV, and I did.
Yeah.
But that's how I lost track of it. And then I got back into it when I was a little bit older, and I was like, wow, you know what? I really miss this show. I e- I feel like as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate like animation and I guess television as a whole,
Oh yeah.
a little bit more, like a lot more actually. Not only for like the actual animation and like animators and artists, but also for the script writing because it's kind of difficult. For okay,
Oh yeah, definitely.
let's talk about the Musical the Gumball because they take some like pretty serious topics and then they manage to make it kid friendly. Like
Like what?
they the last episode I watched, they discussed like this idea that um like characters and things that no longer exist in the show just get removed from the world, and and they're known as the like the mistakes of the world, and so the world has to remove them. And the first episode that like that series starts with, or like that arc, is that there's a
Mhm.
character that they were like, what happened to this character? I wonder where she is. And so
Oh,
they
yeah,
go,
yeah,
yeah, they go into that world to find her, and then there's another guy who escapes, but he's glitched, like he's not supposed to exist in that world, but he is, so he's like jacked up,
yeah.
and he becomes like their arch nemesis. I saw the most recent episode, and it's them. Gumball defeats him, but before that happens, he completely destroys his world. So he finds a universal remote that he has control over the entire world, and so he breaks up Gumball and his girlfriend, and then he destroys the brother relationship that him and Darwin have, and then like he makes the sister disappear, and then he makes the parents divorce each other. I was like, what? Dude,
What the-
I was like, what's going? I was just so shocked that they would pull something like that. I was like, you like the the parents were like, oh, your father is. I forgot what she said, but she's like, your father is going to get a donut, and I'm going to find a new husband. And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
I was like, whoa, yeah, seriously, I was pretty shocked. I was really surprised that they decided to take that route, but it was good. Oh man, was it a good episode? Like I don't know, the ability to build characters in a kid cartoon is I feel like would be kind of difficult because of like it's done by adults for children,
Right.
and I feel like that's kind of difficult. Like I think it would be difficult for me, and I understand that like oh they were children too at one point. And it's like yeah exactly, but that's why I think it would also be kind of difficult because when they were children it was a different generation, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially how fast things are advancing. And I want to make a callback to the episode where they go into the void to go get those characters.
Yeah.
That is an amazing way to execute bringing back a character that they've neglected.
Yeah,
Because yeah, because they became major characters after that happened. Like they acknowledged, like, hey, people probably like these characters. We should bring them back and make them important again. And
they
they did it.
they they only brought back one character. They brought back two. They brought back the girl who was like pretty insignificant. They were just like, oh, I wonder what she's doing. I wonder where she's been. And then it was interesting how they executed it because when they went to go to like her house, there was a fold in like the fabric of reality, and I thought that was kind of cool. They folded the world, and where her house was just didn't exist, but you can see like where it had like folded over, you know?
Uh huh.
I was like,
Heck.
oh, it was pretty ingenious. I thought it was really cool, but she didn't really play that big of a role after. She just kind of was like, all right, now she's back. That's it. All right. Yeah, they didn't talk about her anymore, and she didn't do anything else in the show.
Maybe
Uh,
it's commentary on how she's destined to always be a remedial character.
or a background character, or the fact that the show like I like I think the most interesting part was that they accepted the fact that they got rid of things, and then they wanted
Yeah.
to show how they got rid of it or like why, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that
Hmm.
was an
What about you,
interesting bit.
what about you, Giuliano? You have any topics you want to discuss?
Well, I mean, I feel like we should just keep talking about cartoons. It's pretty interesting. Um,
Oh well, okay, all right. Here's a question: what was your guys' favorite cartoon when you were younger?
Gumball, probably.
Music
Oh, oh
Gumball.
well, how young we talking? How young we talking?
Just like when you think about cartoons and like being younger, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Okay, then like Adventure Time, probably.
are we
Gumball.
talking, are we talking American cartoons or like anime too?
It's what?
Whatever was your in your childhood, man.
Yeah, you can say Dragon Ball, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Um, I kind of knew what anime was, but I didn't really know what it was at the time. Like, the first anime I watched, I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but I watched SAO on Netflix. Like, that's how I got into anime.
Oh yeah, we all did, man. Trust me.
Yeah.
Mine was well, of course Dragon Ball, but I didn't even know like what anime was. I thought it was just another cartoon.
Whoa, this is a dope cartoon made from
It's like
Japan.
hold on.
Yeah, and then I went over to my dad's house, and when he would go to sleep, I had Cartoon Network, and then freaking Naruto and Bleach would come on every
Oh
Saturday.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Adult
dude, Adult
Swim.
Swim.
That was where I
Oh,
really got into anime.
I
I
remember.
I remember watching Inuyasha when I was really young at my dad's
Like,
house. Like Inuyasha was on Adult Swim at the time.
My experience with Adult Swim was Dragon Ball GT. I watched that when it was airing, or when it was like doing reruns, and before it Kill la Kill would come on. So I would have to like sneakily
Ooh,
watch Kill la Kill, like while like no one was looking, and then like switch it like
yeah, Kill la Kill's so good. Juliana,
it
you
is.
need to watch that.
I'll give it a watch in
Give it
But
time.
give it a
the
good old
first
listen with the eyeballs.
first anime I ever seen was actually on YouTube in like those like part one of three clips in like 480p. Yeah, I can say I was one of those people. It was an anime called Kill Me Baby. It was a comedy anime, and
Nice.
I watched it all, but three times 13. So I watched all 39 clips to make up the full thing.
Dang.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine how
man.
many views that person got?
I don't think they were allowed to monetize them. I think it would just draw too much attention.
You couldn't, yeah.
Those guys are the real heroes, though.
Those are the real ones. They deserve an award.
And then I learned what streaming sites were, and they never mattered to me.
Yeah.
Man,
Um,
anime is such a wonderful thing.
you know, I really have respect for the amount of shows that get pumped out every season.
Oh yeah.
Cause compared to American television, it's like we don't even compare. And especially with cartoons, it's like, well, all the good stuff has already been done. And if like we continue, we're just beating a dead horse. But
Well, actually, you could say the same for a lot of anime because I mean the classic like jump nowadays to like isekai anime. It's like, oh, how many times can you do like guy gets hit by a truck and like gets transported to a magical world?
Yeah, there was a lot
yeah,
of a repeat in anime.
like there's
But
yeah,
And
there's a lot of things
I
that
think
repeat. Like you can even I think what was an interesting repeat, and like Justin, you can help me with this maybe, but
okay,
when what is it called? Oh shit, Darling in the Franxx finally came. Well, like when Darling in the Franxx came out,
okay,
I hadn't watched Evangelion before, but now that I've seen them both, it's like, oh, yeah, nope, this makes a lot of sense. That's like,
okay. I I don't like drawing parallels between the two because I feel like the parallels they did had a lot of them were just animation coincidences where it's like these are elements of
they're
animation.
yeah, but they're two totally different things. I understand, I get that, but like,
And then some of them people were like, oh well, I see mechs and I see psychological plot happening.
I didn't even see psychological
Must
plot in
be
Darling in the Franxx.
well, it was like romance, but you know
Yeah, I
that's what I
didn't
mean. See, Darling in the Franxx was more of like how did
surface.
their past tie together and like how is it going to affect their future? Evangelion's more like it's commentary on like humanity and philosophy,
Yeah. All right, we'll save that for the next episode.
right?
Uh, but
A little sneak peek for you all.
yeah. But yeah, the like last comments about that is it. They're two totally different things, but they carry similarities where it doesn't matter, you know? Like it's like, well,
Yeah.
they're both about mechs. They both involve like the idea of people meeting up, and like one's clearly not like into well, she's doing it for certain reasons so that she can be, one's so yeah, they draw similarities, but not in the correct places where it would be you'd be able to give like a direct comparison. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely see where it is. And what's interesting about Darling in the Franxx is that it's Studio Trigger. Who else was that? Was it? It wasn't Gainax, was it? Was it Gainax and Studio Trigger?
I'll look it up. I know Studio Trigger worked on it for sure.
It was Studio Trigger and somebody else. But like, if you look at Kill la Kill and then you look at this, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, they did the space thing again. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, and it's interesting to see that trope being used quite often. Like people are just like, and then they ended up fighting aliens. It's like, wow, all right. I mean,
It was produced by Cloverworks and Studio Trigger.
okay, Cloverworks. Okay, huh,
Yeah, I never heard of them either.
yeah,
But hey, they worked on a really popular anime.
yeah. I'm surprised about how popular it actually got. Like, if I'm being honest, like I liked it.
Zero Two is an anime icon in
I
Reddit now.
Dude, I look through Instagram and every time an anime like thing pops up, I'm like, oh, let's check this out, and then they have a 02 profile picture. I'm like, I don't understand. Like she got that popular.
You know what I think it is, my theory? He lasted 2 seasons instead of one. Because Darling in the Franxx was 24 episodes long.
Yeah. Oh my God. What
And
a
then there were a few hiatuses as well that extended the deadlines even farther.
what a trek. I can't believe I made it through all that. God.
It was good.
It wasn't.
Oh man.
It.
The
It.
second arc had some glaring issues, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. I agree. All right.
Never watched. Can't relate.
That's all right. That's all right.
Alright, so maybe we're all older than this game, or this game is older than all of us, but I was on my Switch earlier, and you know the Nintendo Entertainment System, they have all the retro games.
Playing
I
it
was,
right now.
I was playing Ninja Gaiden,
I know
and
Ninja Gaiden. I played that on the PS2.
really,
Yeah.
dude, that game is like,
Wasn't
I
don't
love how no matter how old a game is, you can see stuff coming together.
Okay, so describe Ninja Gaiden again, because I want to make sure I'm talking about the right game. Do you play as a ninja? All right.
It's a platformer, you're a ninja in like blue clothes, and you attack with your sword, and you like collect power up.
No, I'm thinking about a different game then. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the like 3D Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, there was a 3D Ninja Gaiden on the PS2.
Did they
Yeah.
remake it into 3D?
Yeah. Well, not they didn't remake it. It's like
It
an
was just
entirely
another
new.
one.
It's like a
Oh,
sequel.
Okay, yeah. All right. So I did play Ninja Gaiden, just not the same one you guys are talking about. Right on.
yeah, and oh man, it was cool because despite like the pixels and everything, you can still see like okay, there are mechanics here. There are things the game wants you to do, and those levels are set up a certain way for you to play a certain way. I think it's super interesting, and I like that they're okay. So for example, they'll give you a specific power up that's required for you to get through a certain area. Otherwise, you're basically destined to lose.
Okay.
And there are other times where it's like, well, you have this option to play it this way, but we can you have the freedom like figure it out how you want to if you want. And I think it's really cool how even in something as simple as a 2D platformer, it's still possible to give the player the freedom. Um, it's just interesting to me.
No,
Huh.
I understand. I get you.
And like you can look at a modern game today. I'm gonna like use another platformer. Let's say like Shantae. Um, because that's what I played. Shantae as a platformer is really weird, I think, because okay, sorry. I need to like collect myself. Platformers, in order to make themselves stand out, in my opinion, you need to have like a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
And
You need
if
to
your
do
gimmick
something.
works, then it works. I'd say for Shantae, their gimmick was like the interesting like in Half Genie Hero, you have like an array of powers to solve different situations,
Mm.
and man, it just amazes me how much you can cram into something like a platformer. It's just really cool.
I think a lot of the time they have like the most creative like ideas to work with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go on.
Well, because you're kind of just like not really investing too much time in in like the other aspects of gaming that people usually invest in, like graphics or like in most platformers, the story is not necessarily like the most fleshed out part of it. It's usually
Gameplay.
like yeah, the gameplay. They focus a lot more on gameplay.
Yeah.
Like
I think a platform that can well execute a story is really impressive because of how limited you are in the ways to tell the story.
oh
Because
yeah,
if you just throw text at the player, it's like, well, that's no fun. But if you can set up the maps and the combat in such a way that it can storytell for the text, like that's really cool.
yeah. I think I personally haven't played it, but I watched people play it. I think Shovel Knight has a pretty good storytelling aspect to it.
Yeah. Justin can talk about this as well, but like, there's another game that's not really platformer, but it's like a top-down uh game. Remember Hyper Light Drifter? How like
Oh yeah,
the story was through images and like you would click on characters that were there and then they would like show you a slideshow about different things going on. And I think I think storytelling elements are well executed in the sense of where you can understand the story without having to actually hear, you know?
yeah, definitely. There was like no text in that game, huh?
There was nothing. And
That's
like
another aspect to games that I think is interesting. Games that um just throw you in with like little to no tutorial. I think that's a brave move, especially now when that's kind of frowned upon. But I think it can really benefit the player to like say, okay, it really kind of puts you out there to test the waters for yourself and not just follow what the game wants you to do.
yeah.
Huh.
I'm gonna like segue us into RPGs a little here. I watched a YouTuber called Funk. He did an analysis on the pacing of Pokemon game, and he was saying when you have a really linear game where everything's kind of already set in stone by the time you like insert the game into your console, it's like, well, everyone's gonna follow the same route, follow the same story, and it's less interesting that way. But if you take the step to give the players a little more freedom, it can, even just in a little way, it can drastically change a playthrough, and it can add replay value to a game.
Yeah. I
That is
played this. Go ahead, Juliano.
well, I was gonna bring up an example of that, which is like, in my opinion, Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah,
Like there's so many different ways to solve any issue you have in that game. Like even just crossing like a lake. Like say you need something across the lake, you could either use your ice ability to like platform your way across the lake. You could have your Zora armor and swim your way across the lake really quickly. You could find a boat and just like raft your way across. You could climb really high and then glide down to where you need to be.
right,
I I think they did a really good job in that game of
Choice.
giving the player the option of what
yeah,
they want to do.
definitely,
Being like, okay, well, when you need to get across a lake, use a boat, and that's it. But now it feels like you are playing the game and you're not playing like just this linear like you're basically just not in
It's a linear
what's the word?
story.
Yeah, you're not playing this linear story where you're encountering obstacles. It's like you're playing your own little adventure, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my favorite example of that in Breath of the Wild is there's a shrine where you need to navigate a ball through a maze by using the motion controls on the controller. And what people figured out they could do is they could turn the controller upside down to flip the stage, and the ball just rolls on a flat surface. And it's totally a way to
Oh.
cheese the shrine. But like that's cool. So you have the option. You can either go through the maze, or you can be a little more creative and say, "What if I turn my controller upside down? What would that do?" And it makes it so much easier. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. I've heard though that like from people like some people complain that I think this is a stupid complaint, by the way. Some people complain that the amount of options that you have to solve a puzzle sometimes makes the puzzle not feel it doesn't make it feel like you did it right sometimes. Like sometimes you'll solve a puzzle in a way that doesn't seem like it should make sense, but it does.
Oh, so like it's not rewarding?
Well, kind of just I don't know because it's not even like honestly you'd have to talk to the people that complain about it. But from what I understood, it was just that like say there's a door in your pathway,
Yeah,
like big little metal door. You can see what's inside of it. Um, but you say you need like there's like a puddle under it, right? So
right.
you think that you're supposed to use ice to get it up. That's just kind of
The natural response.
right. But there's a clip of some dude um, stasising it and then hitting it with his sword, and he hit it so hard that it just flung open. And he said that oh well he solved the puzzle, but it didn't feel like he actually solved it. He just kind of found a way around it almost.
Oh,
And
I see.
so like I honestly don't see how that could be a complaint, but
I can kind of get it. It's people kind of saying like maybe there should be times where there needs to be a certain way to do things. I think I can kind of see where they're coming from, although I don't agree with it.
yeah, I don't necessarily think it makes sense. I think people just need to appreciate that the
There's
Yeah,
game
freedom.
the game has a bunch of options to do things instead of just forcing you to solve things the natural Zelda way.
yeah. So we've hit the 50-minute mark. We can wrap it up early if you guys like. But I have one last comment. I have played a game called the Red Strings Club, and it starts with the end of the story. So it has this concept called the timeline,
Yeah.
or like, and then each choice you make connects a string to the next option. So that's why it's called the Red Strings Club. And it told you right up at the beginning that like no matter what you do, you'll always this will be the ending. Like this is how the game will end. There's no way to get around it. There's no way to change the ending. But it's about how you get there. And I thought that was an interesting experience.
Oh, huh.
I had never played something like that before, and so it was like you have a lot of options in between to like to get to that ending, but it's difficult to get like the true ending in quotation marks because like no matter what there's this character that dies in the end. Like that's how the game ends. That's what it tells you right at the beginning. It's like this character dies. Boop. There
Oh.
you go. Yeah, because it starts like the opening scene is him falling from a window. Uh,
Oh, I see.
yeah. So that's like the point of the game is to figure out how how they got there, but there's a lot of different options that you can take to get there. And then at the very end, like the last section of the game is you like making phone calls. It's a really interesting game experience because they implement a lot of different things, but the main aspect is that like you're a bartender that makes drinks and gets information out of people. So it's
Yeah.
super story driven and it's really interesting and I really liked it. I had a great time playing it. But the last like section of it is you making phone calls and like discovering things inside this guy's office in order to like end the game. Um, and there's a number that you can find in the game that leads you to the red string world, and it shows you all of the other options that you could have done but you didn't do. And like it was interesting to see that no like there were so many options that I could have done. Like there were so many different things that I could have done in order to get to that ending.
I actually think that's an interesting approach because a lot of storytelling games, what they'll do is they'll say, you have so many options and you have so many different endings, but people often find themselves dissatisfied with the ending because they feel like, oh, there was like the chances of me getting that special ending are so slim that it won't feel rewarding if I have to, replay and know that it's probably not as it's probably not realistic to ever get that ending.
Yeah,
But if you
or it wasn't like the true ending in quotation marks, like or like they got a bad ending.
Yeah, it's like, well, I put all this work in for a bad ending. But if you tell them immediately, like, there is the ending, then players are already have that expectation dashed. They're like, okay, well, now I can focus my my thoughts into how I'm doing it. That's actually really cool.
Hmm.
No, I had a great time. They I forgot the name of the company, but they made two games, and the other one was Gods Will Be Watching, and kind of follows the same thing, but not really at the same time. Like it, the main point of that game, the gods will be watching, is that all of your choices matter, and then like it uses real time. So there's a moment where like you're a bad guy basically for one part, but you're undercover, like um and you have to continuously make choices to make sure that the hostages don't get away, and that the security team that's trying to move in on you don't get too close, and that you're actually like done breaking into the system. So it's like you have all these options to continuously do, and if you don't do one of them at the right time, like a hostage will run out, and then when the hostage is running out, you either have the option to shoot him or you let him go. And it's like I thought that was a really interesting experience as well, because it's linear, but it's not at the same time. Like you can fail, right? But you'll just
Mhm.
restart, and then you just have to finish the objective, and then that's it. And then the next part is like you have I think it was like 15 days to complete a task. Like you had to find a cure for this thing, and everybody's infected, so it's like you have 13 days to figure it out, and you have to
Is it
test it.
like measure 13 real time days?
No, it's not 13 real times days, but it's like if you I forgot how long a day was, but it's like 10 minutes long. So it's like
I see.
if you don't complete those tasks, all the tasks take a certain amount of time, and then like you had to manage food, you had to manage tiredness, and then like there was two ways you could get out. You could either find a cure for the disease, or you could dig your way out of a tunnel. So you were trapped inside of this mine, and it's like if we don't get out, right, we'll all just turn and we'll get killed. Or if we do get out, then we can get back to the ship and like save ourselves. And
Gotcha.
I was like, wow, this is actually really intense. And it's really intense. Like, you feel the pressure. You're like, all right, so this guy's gonna die because I've worked him for 2 days straight. So it's like I gotta swap him out for somebody else. But I was like, okay, so that means we're wasting time. And then like, what you had to test the cures on people, and if it went wrong, they would die.
Oh no!
So it was like if you give it to somebody and then like they die, then you're out of person, and you don't know. It tells you like what was correct and what was incorrect about the serum.
I
So
see.
yeah, it was just done. It was executed beautifully, and I had a great time playing it. All right,
Oh,
so we've almost reached an hour. Any closing remarks before we close it out?
this really flew by.
Huh?
I said this flew by.
It did. It did, Juliano.
Um, Anime is cool. Games are dope. Don't do drugs.
The
Unless they're helpful. Unless there's like cure serums that may or may not kill your man.
Yeah, only take some prescription drugs that'll like benefit you, like allergy pills that'll help you with your allergies, or if you're asthmatic, make sure you take your inhaler.
Or
Okay.
ibuprofen or whatever.
Yeah.
We're family friendly now.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Quick question, guys.
Come again?
Uh, what button throws items in Mario Kart?
I think it's
I'm gonna
the
stop the